All right. Welcome back to the City Boys podcast. I'm one of your hosts, the bandana headed one. I'm Grayson.
It's the blue shirt wearing one, Ethan.
There we go.
It's the still doesn't have a St. Louis kit one, Jacob.
Hey, rumor has it. Rumor has it. There might be an update on that. Coming soon. Coming soon.
Yeah, I'm up to something. We'll see.
Let him cook. Let him cook. We just got Trista outfitted in the same jersey that I have, so we're gonna be twinning very nicely. I'm very excited.
There you go. City Boys about to be out here looking real nice. Well, guys, we got a good episode coming up here for you guys. We had a pretty uneventful matchup this weekend against Houston Dynamo. The match ended 0-0. It was a kind of a hard watch, not gonna lie.
Yeah, not the best way to spend 90 minutes. But they pulled out a draw. We still have not lost a whole lot this season, and I think that's worth noting.
Yeah, the best takeaway is we did get a point on the road.
Yeah. So we'll take a peek into that. But to start off our match review, let's take a look at the lineups for this week.
Yeah, so our lineups, it's been copy and paste. We got big boy Roman Berkey between the sticks, like we will for the rest of the season. Hopefully, he never, ever, ever even sniffs being hurt. Anthony Markinich, Kyle Hebert, Tim Parker, Tomas Tolan is our back four with Thomas Ostrock and Chris Durkin playing the double pivot. Then we had Celio Pompeo on the left flank, Indiana Vasilev as our center attacking mid, and Rasmus Alm on the right flank, and then Santa Claus up top.
Yep. Nothing too crazy there. I liked it a lot. There was some interesting substitutions made in that match. I think we had at halftime we had a big switch of Aziel Jackson coming on for Celio Pompeu. We had, I think I have it right here.
Sam Adeniran came in for Rasmus Alm in the 64th. Thomas Ostrak got a yellow card, and then from his yellow card was subbed off for Kojima, and then Thorson came in for Klaus in the 82nd, and that was it.
Right. It was pretty nice to see Big Sam back on the field, although it wasn't, wasn't crazy, but just good to see him back. Good to see him back either way. So, yeah, guys, nothing crazy to talk about from this match. No goals to review, but there is a couple things that I need to shout out from this week before we get into our points. First and foremost, we talked about him 2 weeks ago, not on our most recent episode, but Roman Berkey always singing his praises. I defend him from some hate from some St. Louis fans, and he's backing me up with another man of the match performance for St. Louis City FC. According to FootMob, our Swiss boy got an 8.6 with another match with 7 saves off of a goal threat of 1.72 goals expected against. So, yeah, fantastic from him. 12 recoveries, 49 touches in total. Pretty good passing accuracy as well. Just all around great commanding performance from him. Don't expect anything less.
Yeah, I thought Roman did a great job. Specifically remembering that shot where he had to come up super big, left his feet. It was a strong strike, and he bent over backwards in order to keep that ball out of the net. And other than that shot, that's all I can really remember. Houston pressing our goal that much. Yeah, he had 7 saves, but a lot like our attack, most of the shots were directly at the goalie. So
Yeah, just a little breakdown on the stats here. Houston Dynamo took home more possession of the ball. They ended with 68% possession. So St. Louis, we know, is very comfortable having a little bit less. We ended the match with 32%. Houston pretty much outplayed us on most statistics. They had more expected goals, 1.36 to our 1.02. They had 22 total shots to our 18. Uh, they had 11 on target, or sorry, 7 on target to our 3 on target. So yeah, definitely needs to be a change in the accuracy of our shots. I mean, we are getting pretty good frequency on them. I mean, 18 shots per the match is pretty solid, but we did have 2 big chances missed. We beat them. Houston did have 3 big chances missed. So yeah, just couple chances they had that they squandered, and I mean, same for us too. They hit the woodwork once, but yeah, just nothing too insane. We definitely outplayed them on the defensive end. Our defense had another fantastic game, earning the clean sheet. Great performances from Tim Parker and Kyle Hebert again. So yeah, as much as there's a little bit to say negatively about our offense, our defense is looking pretty decent in the back. Something I was a little bit worried about this week going up against Karascalia or whatever his fucking name is.
Dude, Karaskia. And early on in the game, I think he put Hebert in the blender. He nutmegged him bad, but Hebert stood strong. I want to give him his props for this match because, we've had our doubts and we've even essentially called out the back line. We've questioned the sturdiness of it, and I think that no goal performance against a solid Houston side is a good sign.
I would definitely have to say so. Um, so yeah, with that, um, let's take a look at the table this week. So yeah, no change between us and Houston, as Houston was the team right in front of us, so that remains the same. St. Louis City sitting in ninth place on 13 points, with Houston Dynamo sitting 1 point and 1 place ahead of us in the standings on 14 points in eighth place. Um, we're still in room of sixth place and onward. Um, of course, we don't have to worry too much. Sporting Kansas City did lose again to Real Salt Lake this week. So, you know, as you know, as the table continues, St. Louis is still on top. And that's just how it's gonna be. It's just how the rules work.
St. Louis City's still above Sporting in the table. And I think it's kind of important for St. Louis City fans to zoom out a little bit just because all the draws, while the draws are adding up, there's only one loss in the loss column. So while, yeah, it would be great if the scales were tipping a little bit more toward W's, there's teams that have like 6 losses in the league. So I'd rather be us than them.
Yeah, I think a lot of people forget a formula for success is win at home and get results on the road. And if that result is a draw, so be it. At least we're not getting +0 on the weekend. We at least added a point to our tally.
Yeah, pretty solid week overall. You know, not too pressed, especially with the results that we had against Houston earlier this season. I wasn't expecting a massive blowout on either end. I think we seem pretty evenly matched. But yeah, I mean, something that Ethan mentioned with Karskelia get kind of doing up Kyle Hebert. I did see a lot of nutmegs early on in this game. The Houston audience was getting pretty rowdy, just celebrating. I had nothing else to celebrate, so they're celebrating all the little nutmegs and little skill moves. But I mean, do all the skill moves you want. It's not a goal, so no problem there.
I do think it's a good debate that we could have on the podcast, but the announcers were talking about nutmegs don't count unless you get the ball on the other side of their legs,
It's true.
which I kind of agree with. Sometimes it's impossible to recover your own ball. You might nutmeg for a pass and it gets picked off, but yeah, I would tend to agree. If you complete a nutmeg, it requires you to push it through, and at least you or somebody on your team gets the ball.
I kind of see it as like the kind of how the 3-point system works in soccer. A win, a perfect nutmeg where you recover the ball's 3 points.
Yeah.
If you, nutmeg without recovering the ball, it's still 1 point, but it's not two, It's not three, but it's 1 point. It's still cool, whatever.
Yeah, I say I'm in a lot of areas of my life. I think there's a lot of gray area, but this is for me very black and white. You either nutmegged them or you did it. You either got it, you either pulled it off, or you did it. It's one or the other, but I think it's fun still.
And that's coming from the king of nutmegs himself. So, I mean,
The
worthwhile.
retired, the former, maybe
Former,
in
I
my
know.
heyday. Hey, but when you receive a hospital ball on the top of your box, what else are you supposed to do? It's nutmeg time.
Okay.
Not, don't, if any St. Louis City player sees this, do not take that advice.
Nelson, I'm looking at you, buddy. Let's watch it.
No, when in doubt, don't kick it out. Go for the nutmeg, and then another nutmeg, and then another nutmeg.
And then next thing you know, you're in their box and you're ready to fucking score, dude. Come on. Uh,
Um,
any anything in general, a conversation about this match before we get into our 3 points?
Yeah, I think because of the news that came out prior to this match, the bright spot to look at for this week in general was the fact that the team's getting back together. Like we had Lewin and Blom both training.
Mm-hmm.
Big Sam's back in the team. Obviously, he got an appearance. Nielsen played this weekend as well. So I think the biggest point for this week for us is that everybody's starting to get healthy, and hopefully soon we'll have a full squad of healthy players to go.
Right.
yeah, I think that it's a good away result to take before we have a lot of soccer to play, especially after a bye week. I think, the Kentucky Derby just happened. They didn't come out of the gate too strong. They have a midweek match coming up, and I think that they didn't hold back, but they got a lot to play for coming up. All right. We want to start on our point.
Yeah, let's get after it. Let's get after it.
I'm gonna go first
Yeah.
because what I'm really excited about is seeing some consistency in our team and having the essentially the same, well, it is the same starting lineup for the third straight match. I think that it helps the team build identity, and the consistency just helps the players gel on the field, the team chemistry, and I think that it's working out for us. I really like this 4-2-3-1 formation that we play. With Sam being back, I'm curious to see if we do end up implementing a two striker formation. But I think that for the time being, the consistency is good for the lineup.
Definitely. Did
Yeah,
we? Sorry, you can go ahead, Jacob.
yeah, Ethan, I agree with you on that point. As players ourselves in the past, being able to build up consistency and trust with the same guys week in and week out is really important for team getting into a groove of things. And while our groove recently has been draws, like we alluded to previously in the episode, it's better than losing. So hopefully, with this same consistency, if not a couple tweaks, because I'm sure all of us would agree once Edu's back and healthy, he needs to go right back into the starting 11. But just being able to build up that trust with your teammates is really important.
I was just gonna ask you guys if you noticed, but for that little bit of time between the 64th and 82nd, we had Big Sam and Klaus on the field. Did we shift in formation at all, or did Big Sam kind of play out a little bit wider
We
to keep
probably switched in
Anchor on?
formation.
Yeah.
I would say, like on paper, we probably switched to a 4-4-2. Um, But most of the time that they were out there together, we were like defending pretty deep in our own
Mm,
area. And then when the ball got played out, it was just either high and wide and not 2 feet, or, Sam was either way too wide or too far deep. And at that point in time, Klaus, I think his gas tank was pretty low. So his effort
Hmm.
wasn't really going that hard. So I'd say more than likely we were in a 4-4-2, but you couldn't really tell.
right, right. We did see Indiana Vasilov get a full 90, so I'm sure he probably moved out wide, him and AZ out wide so that um, Klaus and Sam could play more centrally as attackers. Maybe Klaus. I always thought about, Klaus could probably drop back and play like a center forward position, kind of behind Sam as well. Um, and that way Klaus can kind of provide little bit more playmaking because he does have a lot of good chance creation in him. So I think that'd be an interesting way to play those two guys if maybe side by side isn't working exactly how we are expecting it to look.
Yeah, that's a big ass center forward.
Oh yeah. Oh, yeah. So my point for this week, St. Louis does have a little bit of an issue right now. That being that we don't have all the goals flowing as easy as we'd like them to be. Edward Leuven, love him to death, tends to pick up an injury here and there. So I've been missing that creative spark in the number 10. However, there's been some pretty big news that provided St. Louis exactly what we're looking for. Top flight, proven playmaker, goal getter, and creator who could dribble three players, put the ball on a dime from deep. Dortmund is losing their star boy. They've announced that Marco Reus, captain of the club, is not renewing his contract following the end of this season. Uh, Tons of positives to this situation. Marco Reus is, I mean, he's a high caliber player, competed in the highest level in Germany for his entire career. I think he came up in Dortmund's academy and then went to a couple other teams in Germany. I think Frankfurt or Gladbach actually, and I think one other one, Stuttgart or something. Um, Eventually made his way back to Dortmund and played his entire career there. Super loyal player. He's an amazing dude. Uh, so yeah, he's challenged even Bayern Munich throughout his career. Uh, this season specifically, Dortmund races pushed Dortmund to battle in the Champions League. They're in the semifinals right now. And they even have the advantage in the first leg with a 1-0 win over PSG. Pretty crazy. So we could we could be looking at like a player who's captain of a team in the Champions League final potentially. So that's pretty cool. Uh, he's got a respectable 8 goals and 6 assists on the season in all competitions. It's 2 goals and 1 assist coming in the Champions League. He probably had his best game of the season yesterday against FC Augsburg. He tallied 1 goal and 2 assists in 60 minutes of action. He got a second Man of the Match award of the season. Shows that at his age, he is still producing. There is a couple of drawbacks, however. Um, Royce is worth 7 million, according to FootMob. St. Louis does avoid paying that fee since he is available as a free agent at the end of the season. But St. Louis will surely have to pay some hefty wages to get him in the door. So we probably have to get him as a DP. But as we've seen with Mr. Lutz Svanesville, he has convinced high caliber players from Europe to take a regular spot on the roster. We're looking at Mr. Roman Berkey, who gets paid uh, pretty handsomely, just not DP worthy.
Also, the former teammate of Marco Reus.
Yeah, so I mean, he's 34. He's still producing, but I mean, a decline will eventually come. St. Louis has made it a point not to invest in a lot of older talent. I mean, we have some older players, 29, 28, but a lot of our players are mid 20s, low 20s. So it doesn't exactly fit our transfer strategy. Um, but he might be worth the short-term investment. Personally, I think it would be a great fit. Berkey, I'm sure, would love to reunite with his old teammate. It has been reported that there is a couple of MLS teams interested in the signature. So, yeah, hopefully our German connections can help give us the edge in the battle for that. But what do you guys think? Do you guys think he'll fit in St. Louis pretty well? Or?
Do you want to go first, Ethan, or me?
You go ahead, Jake.
Um, so first things to know, I called this shit way earlier in the season. I had said that my dream signing for the team would be Marco Royce. But since then, I have done some thinking on it, and while I do think he'd be a great signing for the team, I think we wouldn't necessarily be signing him for like the hopes that he's got, the same level of play back when he was in his prime. Like the man is going to be 34 or is 34. Um, I think if we signed him, he would bring elite veteran leadership to the squad. Like we already have some elite veteran leadership in Roman Berkey, but this would put him actually out in the field as leadership. He is still fast. He is still dynamic. And I could see us getting him on like a 2-year contract, um, and maybe not even necessarily an everyday starter. He would just bring that extra bit of quality to training that would force players to up their game if they're going to beat him out for a spot. I'm looking at you, Celio. I'm looking at you, Rasmus. Definitely AZ Jackson would benefit from a guy like Marco Royce. So I agree that yes, it would be a great signing. Do I think it's going to happen? More than likely, no, just because his wages are so high. But I think the draw to us is definitely along the lines of Roman Berkey is here. We've seen their friendship online since Roman Berkey was in the sticks for Borussia Dortmund. So that would be a draw for me if I'm Marco Royce. Another draw is St. Louis is a dope town. All he has to do is come visit for a weekend, and he could see that we don't necessarily have a big yellow wall like they do in Dortmund, but we do have a medium sized red wall, and that could be interesting for him. Um, but yeah, I think it's probably 30% yes, 70% no that we get him on the team.
Well said, Jacob. And I tend to agree with a lot of that, especially the veteran leadership. I think that would be really helpful because it does seem like our team is a little skewed in both ways. Like we have really young and talented guys that could really benefit from that, and then we have the experienced leaders. Um, I think that Marco Royce would be a good signing for St. Louis City. I think he would put butts in seats and he would still be a dynamic and quality player. Do I think it's realistic though? No. I think that Lutz has magic and has worked his powers before, but I have a feeling that while he's leaving Dortmund, I don't think he's ready to leave the competitive level that he's at right now because he's on a squad going to the Champions League semifinals and they're challenging right now. It would be a wonderful storyline if Dortmund won the Champions League. So we'll
Against
see.
Bayern Munich in the final, it could happen.
And to not let Harry Kane win a trophy, just magical, truly.
I
But go ahead, Jacob.
I was just going to say I think Real Madrid is up in the Real Madrid Bayern semifinal. I think Real Madrid's on top.
Yeah, no, they tied. I think they tied 2-2.
Okay. I work too much. Fucking Champions League soccer's off my radar ever since
They
City got
yeah,
knocked out.
they tied 2-2 in the first leg. So yeah, it's even.
Okay.
Either way, though, I would not be surprised if one day, like Marco Royce took his last dance around the MLS in a St. Louis jersey. I wouldn't be surprised.
Interesting. Honestly, that's a take I was not expecting, a take that he's gonna stay in the league because honestly, I think he's coming. I think it's gonna happen. Um, just a little note that I wanted to point out, a little uh character character player comparison. There is a current player in the MLS that I want to compare him to. Um, Emil Forsberg. Emil Forsberg is a number 10 Swedish playmaker that played all of his days or most of his days in the Bundesliga with Red Bull Leipzig. So plays at similar level to Marco Reus has played his most of his career at that similar level. He is 32, so he's 2 years younger than Marco. Um, and he recently made his move from Leipzig to the New York Red Bulls. It's his debut season currently. Right now, there's a lot of drama
I
surrounding
was
him
gonna
right now,
say, have you guys
and it's
heard the Emil
pretty
Forsberg
wild.
drama?
It is wild.
I have not heard
Dude,
anything. Please update me.
okay. So Emil Forsberg, bro, has moved from RB Leipzig to New York Red Bulls, right? So he comes to New York. His wife and child find out about the transfer from social media. His
Yikes.
yeah, you'd think that his wife has not had contact with Emil since he has come to New York.
Just ghosted her. Just poof.
So she posted on like social media this big old site, like big old posting like, "Hey, like Emil, obviously you don't want to be part of our family anymore, but like just wanted to know if you're like good, dog." But there he is playing for New York Red Bulls on TV weekly. So,
My man went to go get milk and never came back.
bro, went to get
That's
milk in New York. Yeah,
yeah, crazy situation.
so there's that. Well, hopefully Marco will have a different situation when he comes. Um, but Emil Forsberg, even in the midst of all this drama, is still having a pretty productive season for Red Bulls. He's played 9 matches. He's got 3 goals and 2 assists, average of 7.7 rating. Dude's been playing pretty well. So yeah, he is pretty similar in style to Marco Reus. Uh, and he's taken to the MLS pretty well. So I don't know. I think Marco can do some work here. I think he's still got his legs. He's still doing it in the Champions League against top clubs. So I think he'll be a good fit. But yeah, the only thing that's convincing the mastermind lets himself. So I guess we'll see. But in my mind, fingers crossed, Marco
I
to STL.
I haven't watched a lot of Dortmund ball in years, so I don't know if the big thing is if he would fit our style of play. Like
Right.
we are run and gun for 90 minutes, and him being 34, like I bet he's got a solid 60 minutes of run and gun in him. But a man that we would be paying a lot of money to, I would want to see be able to play a full 90 in our system.
Well, that's a good thing too that we have Edward Leuven, another fantastic number 10. So it would give both of them, in my mind, like the space and the time they need to like take care of their bodies. Uh, Leuven is known to pick up an injury. He did last season as well, spent a lot of time, like a decent amount of time on the bench. So, I mean, just having two fantastic players that can fit in that creative midfield, I think would be a huge help to our team. Uh, at some point, we're gonna have to start clearing out players that are not bringing the numbers that we want to the club. So I think there's a lot of big decisions to come up for St. Louis in our third season. I don't think nothing too big this season, but I think there'll be some changes.
So I have a question in this fantasy la la land that I would love to live in real life. Are you putting Marco Royce at center attacking mid, or is he playing like a outside mid position?
So in my mind, Marco works best in the 10. Dortmund does play a similar formation to us with two center defensive mids, fullback, and then like the three attacking midfielders, left wing, center mid, right wing, striker. Um, so yeah, they have Kareem Adeyemi, we have Celio Pompeu. Uh, it's just a little different, you know. But yeah, Royce plays in the 10 position. He can't play as a winger, which would be nice having like if we want to play Leuven and Royce at the same time, we could have Royce play right wing, which I think is another position that hasn't been locked down completely. So nice creation from the right side of the pitch, I think would be pretty nice. That link up with Hotland too.
Jacob, honestly, I think you've posed a really fantastic question because on paper, it's like a really it's almost obvious, right? Like, wouldn't you take Marco Royce over Indiana Vassilev? But like, with the context and the nuance of knowing what we know about St. Louis City, I like honestly, I think I would keep Indy over Marco Royce because I think that he is the type of player that fits our team and uh, like runs his ass off for the entire game and fits our style of play. I think that his numbers are lacking, but yeah, I think I would stick with Indy. And when Edu Lovin is healthy, I would definitely stick with Lovin.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a page out of a different book. I think if we have Marco Royce because of his quality, we switch our formation to a 3-5-2 and have Royce up top next to Klaus or Adinaran, whoever's hot at the time. And Marco plays those 60 minutes of like almost a false nine. I'm sure he would drop deeper more than Klaus would because he's more dynamic on the ball. And then he gets subbed out in the 60th minute for the other striker. And maybe we switch to a 4-4-2 at that point or stay in a 3-5-2. But I don't think he would work in our 4-2-3-1 with the type of gegenpress style that we have. If he does start on a 4-2-3-1, I'd have him out wide for either Celio or I would not take Indy out.
Interesting. Interesting. I don't know. I'm not too hot on our number 10 position right now. I am a big fan of Indiana Vassilev. I kind of like him on the right side. I don't know. I liked him in the midfield. Um, I think when we do get Leuven back, which looks like it's probably sometime mid-May, so yeah, sometime this month probably.
It's
Um,
imminent.
I wouldn't mind seeing like Indiana play where Ostrick has been playing recently. Have like Leuven maybe in the 10 position. I know Leuven has also played that more deep lying playmaker next to whoever our CDM will be, either Blom, who also comes back mid-May, or Durkin. Um, so yeah, there's some chops and changes that we can make because yeah, we're gonna have a midfield coming back with Blom and Leuven due back mid-May. So there's a lot of experimenting that Carnell can do in the midfield there.
Yeah, and definitely based on performances. And this is the last thing I'll say on this topic, but I think based on performances over the next couple months, we're going to see some changes coming in the summer transfer window. I would not be surprised if Blom doesn't win his spot back from Durkin. I would not be surprised if Ostrak gets put on the trade block. Um, if you guys can hear my dog barking, I apologize. Um, yeah, I would expect some changes. We might even see a Dinaran going because who knows if he resigns. But let me go take care of my dog real quick.
All good.
Hey, hey, enough, enough.
Just not the most exciting St. Louis City game I've ever seen. I'll tell you that. I will tell you that.
Yeah, Houston are. I mean, respect to them, they're definitely like a brutal team to play. Like, they're good. I think we're better, and we're not showing it. Our team is definitely missing something.
I agree. I think it's just the finishing touch. because we've taken so many shots. We take so many shots a game, but we never have that many goals. I don't think we've had a too high scoring of a game at all this season.
Definitely something we were used to last season is pretty much everything going in.
Hmm
All the random deflections, crazy volleys, and now we're not getting anything. So it's a hard payoff, but that just
We
means we
still
got that many
average
fighters.
right now. I think we're averaging around 1.7 goals a match. So it's not like a terrible record that we have.
Yeah,
Um, I think it really just is easy to get jaded because we're not winning. So it does feel
yeah.
like something is going terribly wrong and that, we need to right the ship. But all in all, I think things are going pretty decently.
It's like we might have Jacob back.
Yeah, hopefully. Um, okay. So my point for this week is, and we've touched on it here and there throughout the episode, but like I think it's important for everybody to remember we're in our second season, and we did set a pretty high expectation with our performances last year. Going five straight wins, breaking that record for an expansion club, and then winning the Western Conference last year and making it into the first round of the playoffs. That was as perfect of a first season as you could have without winning the whole damn thing. Um, and also, it's our second season. A lot of teams struggle in their first seasons as a club, and we only have one loss. We do have seven draws, but it's also important to note that those draws could easily be losses as well. I think of our seven draws, we probably deserve to win two of them, at most three. And the other ones, like, I think this was our only tie. And then our comeback from behind against KC were our only ties where we probably deserved to tie those games. The rest of them, we definitely deserved to lose those games. You could argue we deserved to lose against Kansas City. So instead of sitting in ninth place, we could be sitting damn near dead last. So it's important to note that we're doing fine. There's a lot of soccer left. We even have another tournament in the middle of the summer that we can really test ourselves against clubs in Mexico. Um, so yeah, chill out, everybody. And with that, I want to switch over to some hot takes from Facebook that we're going to react to. One of my favorite things to do during the game and post game is to look at the interesting thoughts that people have on Facebook. And I've selected three here so far. These come from the St. Louis City SC fans Facebook group. If you're not a part of it, I would join just to get a good laugh sometimes. Um, the first one I've got is from a gentleman whose name I will not name, but he said, the amount of thing our team did wrong tonight was not good. The only player I saw really do anything right was Berkey, which I'm going to disagree with specifically on this game. I thought our team did really well. Our back line, like we've talked about, did really well. We did miss some chances up top, but that's to be expected. What do you guys feel about this take?
I mean, a clean sheet on 22 shots is, yeah, I mean, pretty defensively impressive. So, I mean, if you're just like forgetting half the team exists, then yeah, St. Louis had a terrible fucking game. But there is certain people in the defense that I think deserve respect. And Timmy P, Kyle Hebert, Mark Hannick, and Totland had another solid matchup. They shut some people up. It wasn't prettiest, don't get me wrong, but I mean, and Roman Berkey, I mean, just because he was mentioned, I felt the need. I didn't really feel the need to defend him, but our defense was solid. I mean, obviously, that many chances is a bit too many in my liking, but I mean, there's always room for improvement. But yeah, I mean, offensively, I think we still did solid. We had the chances. We just got to finish. So obviously, the creation is there. just a little tiny bit of decision making and accuracy, precision, and we're 2-0 up. So just calm down. Work on your
Yeah. I think that Tim Parker is quietly having a just as good of a season defensively as he did last year. There's isn't the same, I guess, celebration because he's not scoring goals week in and week out or getting assists at the moment. But I think there's a lot of positives in the St. Louis City side that I think we acknowledge and we see that, but I do understand how it's tough to see with 7 draws.
With that, I'm going to go into the second of the 3 takes that I picked out from the page. This one comes from another male City fan. It's I guess this is his second hot take of the evening, but he said hot take number 2: bench Klaus for a couple games and have him work on his shooting in stressful, tight situations. Tonight has been very disappointing with his multiple stratosphere shots. Which, fun fact, Grayson's mother reacted to this
I was about to say,
with
my
she
mom likes.
reacted to it with I'm pretty sure she did the laughing Facebook reaction one
Okay, I hope so.
because Chris knows ball.
She does know both.
Um, yeah, I would say I don't. One, it's really tough to simulate quote stressful tight situations in training. Like, yeah, there are shooting drills where
Get
you kind of
defended.
get it, but it's nothing like in game scenarios. I don't think Klaus needs to be benched. He had some wayward shots tonight, but he also was like our second most dangerous player on the field last night. I think when Sam came in, he wasn't nearly as dangerous as Klaus was. And he would be our replacement if we benched Klaus for a couple of games. So I think dude needs to take a chill pill. Missing a couple shots wide happens. I bet you he has done it in Sunday League himself. So let's all take a deep breath.
The thing about your struggling striker or like your striker in a slump is that taking him off the field and not even giving him the chance to get out of that is only going to keep him there. So if you want Klaus to improve, he almost needs to be on the field playing and getting chances to score. So benching him for a couple of games is laughable to me. No, keep Klaus on the field.
And if you don't think an MLS striker is doing shooting drills, what are they doing? What do you think they do all week? Defense. Yeah.
I would also argue he's not even in a slump. Like he scored a goal in the last 2 games. He was on the upward trajectory and he still looked dangerous in this last game. He missed. It happens. Third and final take, and this one is the funniest and my favorite because it's the funniest. This gentleman said, Durkin sucks and is a defensive liability. Stroud had 5 goals and 5 assists. Durkin has nothing but a potential suspension for yellow cards. Which, if you think Chris Durkin is a defensive liability, bro, you don't know ball. He has been putting in a shift. Ethan has a love letter to Chris Durkin about how great he's done this season on defense. Also, Stroud and Durkin play 2 completely different positions. Stroud never slotted in as a CDM, and yeah, in an entire season, Stroud had 5 goals and 5 assists, but I'm arguing that Durkin is a more important player to us this season than Stroud was to us last season.
Yeah, this game is definitely not the best reflection of Durkin's season so far. He did have a poor match. I'm just gonna by his standards that he has set for himself by being fucking fantastic this year. This is the only game that I say Durkin has had a poor game. This is the only one this entire season. This match, he had 3 interceptions, 2 recoveries. He won 29% of his ground duels and 0 aerial duels. Definitely, yeah, definitely not a great look this week. But when you're averaging like 11 recoveries like a game, making like 5 tackles, winning like almost 100% of your aerial duels, like he, I think it's fine. Like, yes, he had an off game, but hey, we did concede. So like, I don't know how you're gonna claim that this player's a defensive liability with one bad game in a game that he didn't make any glaring mistakes that led to a goal. Um, just
The
yeah,
question, the question that I would pose to this fan is, was Chris Durkin's was his defensive abilities a liability in our first goal against Kansas City? Because quite literally, his defensive action got us a goal. And throughout the whole season, he's been just an immense workhorse. Does he have the numbers of Jared Stroud? No. Do they even play the same position? No. Does an apple taste like an orange? Okay, no. It's a different thing, man, of course. So this is a high on Chris Durkin podcast. We like our man over here. I think if not for Totland, he'd be the signing of the season. Mind you, Blom and Lovin, our two center midfielders, have been hurt almost the entire season. So without Chris Durkin, there is no telling how our season would have looked so far. I think he's been a key player this season.
Yeah. Also, he picked up a knock over the bye week training against City 2, and I'm pretty sure he played through it. So that would be
Mhm.
my excuse for him not having the greatest Chris Durkin performance that we've come to know and love. But I still, of all of our 11, actually, of the 15 or 16 players we had out there over the weekend, I was not at all concerned with his performance.
yep. Still played a
So,
full 90, still grinded his heart out. He's a solid player, solid player. So with that, I think that's all we got to say about this matchup against Houston. Uh, farewell, Houston. We're done with you. We're tired of you. Uh, so let's go ahead and look forward to our matchup next week. Who do we got? Who do we got?
Kick Clash, my
Oh,
boy.
oh shit. Oh yeah, you're right. You're right. I was like, what are you guys doing? Guys, before we get to that, let's round out this with another round of Kid Clash. Ding, ding, ding. We got the Houston home kits that we did not take a peek at earlier this year. I'm gonna go ahead and pull that up. Now, if you guys did not know, Houston Dynamo just had a rebrand not too long ago, getting rid of their old logo and replacing it with this pretty simple lettering. I don't know. I miss the old logo. I thought the old logo was tight. I'm not a fan of this one.
Yeah,
But
it feels just like very basic.
yeah, I feel like the MLS is getting really corporate. Like I get really corporate vibes from the MLS when it comes to art styles. Uh, for me, I mean, the kit itself is nothing special. I'm not seeing any crazy hidden designs or anything. It's a little wavy. Um, it's orange though. Orange is my favorite color. Um, I think it looks pretty good on the player. I just wish, they a little more creative. Um, so like I'll give it a 6 for color, but I mean, you just put orange on a regular Adidas template, so nothing special. So
Yeah, it's pretty mid. It's very orange and nothing special. I do like their rebrand of the crest. I think it's cool lettering. It gives me like New York Mets vibes for
Mm,
lettering.
yeah, I see
Um,
that.
but yeah, I'm gonna agree with you, Gray. I'm gonna give it a 6.
Yep. Just like that game against Houston and SCL, very average kit. Um, I guess fuck cancer. We can all agree on that.
Yeah.
So that's cool. Yeah. So for that, I guess 6.5.
Yeah. Yeah, nothing too crazy. Just kind of like the matchup. Pretty boring, pretty bland. Nothing crazy, nothing special. So with that, let's move on to next week's matchup. In St. Louis, we're coming up against Midwest sister city, Chicago. Chicago. So I mean, what are you
Chicago.
guys thinking for this matchup? Chicago's not having the greatest run this season. I think they're what? Where are they on the table?
I got it pulled up. They are 13th in the Eastern Conference. They have played 11 matches. They have 10 points with 2 wins, 4 draws, and 5 losses. They are -8 in goal difference.
Yeah, they have not scored a goal in their last 4 matches. Tough, tough scenes in Chicago right now. And they haven't scored in 2 away matches. They're coming to St. Louis and we're unbeaten in our last 6 home games. So I I don't like their odds. I'll put it like that.
I
Yeah, I
will.
definitely don't want to be the first team they score on in however many matches.
Yeah, they have. I will say on the other side of things, Chicago did do the double on us last season. Where by the double, I
Mhm.
mean, didn't they beat us in two
Yes, they
different
did.
competitions, like right back to back?
FA, not FA, Open Cup,
FA
and
Cup,
it was Open Cup,
The
and
league.
then
the league.
It
Yeah,
was just the
they beat
league.
it. Yeah,
yeah. So they did the double back to back, beat us home and away. I'm pretty sure. Um, so yeah, it was definitely a disappointing matchup, especially that was like on the back of us kicking Kansas City's ass. So I was about to say, man, we rule the Midwest, but yeah, Chicago kind of shut us up last year. They do have some pretty like solid players on their team. Of course, the Swiss brother, Sheridan Shaqiri, fantastic player. Um, I mean, he's like a short little like muscle man, but dude can move. He's honestly a really awesome player to watch. Um, Other honorable mentions, Kellen Acosta, USA player, fantastic guy, been around the league. Uh, Chris Miller,
fantastic
forward,
guy, fantastic guy.
Yeah,
I know
fantastic,
you guys.
you
fantastic
know
guy.
him.
He is a fantastic guy. And did you guys see actually the goal that Kellen Acosta scored earlier this season?
Unreal.
From
Unreal.
Hatfield. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
from I
glad
think
we're
it's from
not playing them in
his own half,
Chicago.
and it was like insane, insane wind that caused the ball to slide into the back of the net. But yeah, I mean, there's just I don't know, nothing too crazy from Chicago, but there is some pieces that I think can hurt us. They just haven't woke up this season. They do have 2 wins on the season, same amount as us. So I don't know.
I
Predictions?
don't know if we've played them in St. Louis, so I'm really
Oh,
excited for this.
interesting. I think it'll be a good matchup.
yeah. I don't remember if we hosted them in the league last year. I know in the Open Cup we went to Chicago for that matchup.
Yeah, I know one was away at least. So we might have done both away. Fuck, I don't know.
Yeah, let us know in the comment section if you guys know. But my prediction, I'm gonna go. So they haven't scored in a while. We've got back-to-back clean sheets. So I'm gonna say that they're not scoring against us, and I think we win this one 2-0. I think we get back on the score sheet. And then, like I said last episode, I'm going to ride with my boy Hopefully, he starts playing more than 60 minutes every game because that shuts me out of 30 minutes of potential goal scoring opportunities. But I'm going to say Rasmus bags one.
Okay. Okay. Ethan, what do you got?
Hmm. I would love to see. I mean, I mentioned it earlier that St. Louis City this year, unlike last year, we haven't seen many high scoring bouts. I would love for this to be the one, like pop out 4 or 5-0. So I'm gonna predict a 4-0 victory from St. Louis City. I think I have yet to predict any other kind of result on this podcast. And I I feel good about Indiana Vassilev for some reason. I think that he looks good playing under Klaus. And actually, I something I noticed was him getting in ahead of Klaus on the field. I thought that like Klaus would go win a header and flick it on for Indy. So
Hmm.
I like I like him to score next week.
Okay. I like it. I like it, especially looking back and thinking about that goal he scored against Real Salt Lake. I think he's got more bangers like that in him. Ethan, you look scared. You're scared. Scared as fuck.
The
We're just
boys are
having,
wooing.
I was gonna say, we're just having pet issues this podcast.
Uh,
Oh my goodness.
but for this matchup, I think I'm predicting a 1-0 win. I think it's going to be a close one. I think St. Louis is just going to edge it out. I mean, we're not the most potent offense right now. I think someone's going to sneak in, and I think that person is going to be Celio Pompeu again. He's going to do it. He's going to do it to him. So hopefully that will come true. I hope all of our predictions come true, most notably Ethan's. That would be lovely. That would be lovely. Um, any
Please give us a
final
big dub.
any final comments?
Nah, I think one of us needs to go through all of our videos so far and actually create this table of predictions because I am so lost on how many points anybody has.
No, yeah, no worries. I think we're not doing too great, not gonna lie.
No,
Like,
I
I
think I
think
have two.
you have two. I got 3 points for a match prediction, and I think I got maybe 1 or 2 points from a player prediction. So I think I'm on 4 or 5. Ethan, I think you did call a player shot as well, or like a goal prediction. So I think you have like 1 or 2. Don't worry. I'll go through halfway through the season, make a big points table. I'll tally it all up. Don't worry. We'll get
Okay.
there.
Did we have any what does the winner get at the end of the season?
Should we do what does a winner get or what does the loser have to do?
I think winner get.
Loser has to streak on City Field, kiss
Yeah,
Roman
that's not
Burke.
happening. None of us live in St. Louis. That's not happening.
Whatever, whatever. We'll figure it out. We'll talk about it. We'll throw it up to the fans. I'll ask my mom.
Yeah, my first initial thought was winner gets so the two losers split a jersey for the winner.
Ooh, I
I
don't hate
like
that.
that, Jake.
I don't hate that.
Yeah.
You can do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
Okay.
mean, I'm already getting a jersey, so it's not a ploy for me to get a kid, but
This
I
guy
think
wants
it'd be
another
cool.
kid. Yeah, we'll work it out, but I think that's a pretty cool idea. It'd be fun. Give us something
I
to
like
play
that.
for. Um, any other comments? Closing arguments? Feeling good?
I just want to say that if this was your first game watching in St. Louis City, you gotta come back for more. They are usually 10 times more exciting.
Yeah. City's definitely known to have some crazy ass games. That one I don't think that was one of them. But you know, I'm down for a boring game as long as it ends with 3 points for St. Louis City. Uh, and that sounds good enough to me for next week against Chicago. Um, I think that's going to be it from us. That's another good episode of City Boys, St. Louis City, and we will be back with another 3 points. Jacob?
Yeah, like, subscribe, comment, follow us on all the socials, and don't forget to tell your mom you love her. I'll see you guys next week.
Hell yeah.
Peace
ST.
out.
STL.